Hey guys, so 5 cookies went to court on Friday, all dressed up like they were going to their own funeral. Oh, and also in spirit, and also by proxy, their New Jeans mama, who was dealing with her own case. Well, the New Jeans girls did not have to go to court, but they chose to, seemingly at the last minute. If you look at this picture, I've seen this picture before, or I've seen these expressions and these behaviors before when you're essentially going to acting class and you didn't really memorize your lines and you gotta be up on stage performing this scene. Was it a court date or was it a funeral? Let's get into it. Toxic, okay? Toxic. So again, they didn't have to go to this hearing, and it's the first hearing in a series of hearings, depending on how many hearings the judge wants to give each side to present their evidence, rebuttal, go back and forth until it reaches a decision. But with an injunction, and an injunction in this case was originally just for stopping New Jeans from doing advertising deals without a door. But basically, you are our artist. We're supposed to be managing everything together and sharing the profits together. But here you go, running off, making your other side deals. Well, the scope had expanded, it seemed, at the last minute. And this is legal strategy, where ADOR said that they just want to halt even all performance activities until the court issue has been resolved. And it looks like ADOR added this as part of its filing, which is all proper procedure, by basically you have until the night before the court hearing to submit all of your paperwork and your evidence and what you want to accomplish. And by waiting until the last minute, that's the standard tactic if you want to drag it on and on. But in this case, it looked like the lawyers from the New Jeans side saw this come in, and they're like, because the night before you're checking to see, what the other side has, submitted online. And then they're like, oh crap, we're probably going to have to get the New Jeans girls in there because look at all of this evidence. That's probably when they filed the CCTV evidence, like Kakao Talk evidence. And they probably got word that the CEO of ADOR, Kim Joo-young, yes, the one that gave the fierce side eye to Hanni at the National Assembly, was going to be in attendance. Now, from my experience, what I heard from my lawyers is that you're not required to go to court. You let the lawyers handle it, but it might make a good impression on the judge if you're there. Now that rubbed me the wrong way because it felt like, well, the law should just be the law whether you're there or not. You're essentially saying that you're going to influence the judge who shouldn't be influenced. But if you look at it from the judge's perspective, they also are not familiar a lot of the times with the areas, like every single area of like how a law applies. They may have studied the law and have their own experience of how it has been applied to, let's say, like a steel manufacturer or a criminal dispute. But if they're especially in an area where they haven't tread before, then sometimes that person-to-person interaction can color, I guess, whatever they need to feel comfortable that their next job or promotion is secured. So this judge, I'm glad they put the names now a lot of the times in the media reports. It's Kim Sang-hoon, and is born in 1972, and judges seem to like to create a low profile online, admittedly, because there's probably a lot of angry people with their rulings. But 53, that's prime age to be a bunny uncle, so that makes me a little bit suspicious. On the other hand, from a couple of the big rulings that are out in the media about how he's dealt with cases, it looks like he's by the book, but that's not always a guarantee, because if he's reading the Jezebel Institute of Treasury book, then no bueno there. But this is why I think we're seeing now the returns on ADOR's strategy. What happens when you go slow and you focus on the legal case? Not everybody can do that. So this is just a pre-warning to people that most of the times this JIT will run the truck over you. And by the time you get up and you're trying to be, oh, well, let's let the truth finally win out. Let's let karma catch up. Honey, sometimes karma's on a slower boat, and JIT has, put on some engine boosters on their car. Can't go forever at that speed, and that's what they're hoping, that you just run it through as fast as you can and win and destroy your victim here, and before karma can catch up to you. But karma, even though she's on a slow boat, she gets to her port. Now, the reason why this is a genius move on ADOR's part, because they can afford the slow game and the legal game, is that through the court, they can present the evidence that normally under a media play situation you would release to journalists. But if they release the same exact information to a journalist directly, they could be really accused of trying to hurt Nugent. But even though the result of it was the same sort of media article, the fact that the evidence was presented to the court meant that ADOR was just doing its due diligence and job, not trying to hurt Nugent, but just presenting the evidence. And then the media has this a little bit even more validated evidence of ADOR's side, because it's gone through the court process. And so nobody can accuse the journalists of, basically having faulty information, or really wasn't from ADOR's side or whatnot. And then they can report the same story. So it's a media play without really being a media play. So I just wanted to bring up, that's probably the big kind of corporate strategy. So y'all Hybe, critics out there still, I'm just saying that, okay, yes, this is a trick that like only a big corporation really can kind of pull off, and have the foresight and the patience of a very expensive top legal counsel in the country to pull off. So right ahead of this hearing, we saw the Nugent's boutique PR agency go out and be like, we can't believe ADOR has changed the scope of the injunction to halt all of our activities and try to interfere with us as artists who have been freed from their clutches. Well, that was a stupid move, because I think the lawyers had a gift in rewriting their opening statements and countering that, but basically saying like, we are here today, ADOR's side, that we are trying to uphold our exclusive artist contract and halt activities that are outside of that contract until the case has been resolved. And what that does immediately, it adds the judges in the in the play, because even though judges be judging, sometimes they want to show up on stage on Broadway. And so what they do, what the lawyers of Hybe are doing essentially, are saying like, we're respecting your decision. Like, we want this to be in your hands to protect the sanctity of the law. It also exposes Nugent as people who are always manipulating the truth, like turning the truth halfway and then turning it, and then showing like its backside as a different situation, where they were saying like how they want to halt all of our activities. They're like, no, well, we want to halt the activities during this process, but at any time they can do anything they want with ADOR if they just come back to the company. And it shows who's the adult And of course, the main focus seemed to be very logically cutting off of the non-music, non-performance revenue of New Jeans in their NJZ moniker, particularly advertising deals, which you can more easily bring money in as a runaway going rogue because you're not performing the songs and you're even saying, please don't use the name New Jeans. But then now even the performance, because you could only like, go to Gucci, Louis Vuitton, do a makeup ad or contact lens ad for only so long without singing, but still calling yourself a singer. So this also will cut them off at the knees with the performance side. And it's smart because money is what makes the Jezebel world go round and around. And essentially, they're putting a halt and a kibosh on all of that. So CEO of ADOR, Kim Joo-young, who replaced Minji over the summer last year, showed up in court and stood its grounds on that the exclusive contract is still in place. And yes, she was there, but the lawyer, it's really the lawyers, taking the driver's seat in this situation. They're saying that there's no grounds for the termination of the exclusive contract. Termination of exclusive contract can only occur in cases of significant obligations being violated. This is not a hello that you felt like wasn't good enough in the elevator, or accusing Eyelet's manager, who's not even an illegal entity anywhere in your orbit, really, in the court of law, of perhaps have saying like, oh, they said they should have ignored me. Significant obligations being violated include failure to provide opportunities for entertainment activities. Again, this is why ADOR is saying like, hey, we got all the opportunities for you still. Unresolved revenue, so like not being paid. And so ADOR side said that it fulfilled all essential and core duties of the exclusive contract. The reasons cited by New Jeans are unfounded and unrelated to the main contents of the contract. And then they also said New Jeans' reasons for contract termination include claims such as Hybe doesn't like us, Hybe dislikes New Jeans and discriminates against them, which they probably can't even spell. And it does not make sense for a profit-seeking private enterprise, ADOR, to bury its only and primary source of revenue. So they're talking in language of adults that the court, even though the court can act childish, but they are talking in terms that a judge will feel a lot more comfortable with, because unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on where you are in a legal battle, if you can base a lot of your claims on just the raw financial figures, it's a lot easier to prove the motive or the why, which we'll get into. But of course, we need a little bit more of the drama, right? The sauciness. So what was the ADOR's shocking receipts on the HANNIGATE Part 1, the CCTV footage, which was supposedly deleted, but I don't know, maybe they had some digital forensics or something pull it up. And we got to see for our own eyes this infamous, this overblown, I've never seen a hallway get that much attention. A hallway incident outside a makeup studio in the Hybe building, where the whole crux of New Jeans leaving, the reason why it's big is that New Jeans' mama made it big, and somehow it kind of hook, lined, and sinkered in some way, saying that this is a prime example of why we're allowed to terminate our contract. But now it looks like lies, proven by the CCTV evidence. So on May 27, 2024, the Eyelet manager met with Eyelet's members in the artist exclusive area in the Hybe headquarters and instructed them to not greet Hanni and to ignore her claims. Minji's side, Newjin's side. That was the scandal that, oh my God, this manager went, And when we say manager in Korean, it's not like a talent manager, a big executive. It's essentially an assistant. And so the word manager in Korean in this context is more of like an assistant, but we don't want to call them an assistant, but they're really like a senior assistant, I would say, if you take the sort of Hollywood type of role and responsibility in this situation. So already it doesn't make sense that the manager would be like, they're trying to play it in the minds of people who are not in the entertainment industry that, oh, this is like a person that you have to listen to, so they were told, and this is like some sort of hierarchical systematic bullying. But the members actually have a lot more power than their managers. And obviously from the CCTV footage, even if that manager did say that, the Islet girls didn't listen. They bowed. All of the Islet girls bowed to Hanni, and it looked like Hanni wasn't even standing up. It looks like she was just sitting down. She didn't even have the courtesy and respect to stand up. Now, in a bigger picture, this is just passing people by in the hallway. In other countries, you'd be lucky to just, get a wave or a hello. Like, nobody expects like a full 90-degree bow to begin with. And so I don't really fault Hanni for sitting there, but I do fault her for making such a huge deal out of this. Had she been, really been also like, as if she's like greeting the prime minister, like, maybe, but it did not even look like any type of situation. And she was so far away. It does not hold water. And if you look at the scenes again and again, Danielle is there too. So how come we didn't even hear a peep out of her? If this was such a pivotal case, why was her eyewitness account not included in any of the public dialogue that we've had about this issue? Now let's move on to part 2 of this smoking gun from ADOR, the private discussions, the Kakao Talk messages. So somehow they were able to find a Kakao Talk message between Hanni and Minji, where Hanni brings up this situation, and it's a little bit odd because it almost feels like a young kid trying to get the attention of their mother by tattletaling or trying to create an issue that would, kind of bring affirmation of like their one-sided war against Islet. And it said that like, oh, I heard the manager over there say to ignore me after as I came out of the styling room, but I don't remember exactly if those were the words. So remember, Hanni is Vietnamese Australian. Yes, she's done a pretty good job at learning Korean, but it's definitely not her first or second language. And so she doesn't understand a lot of vocabulary, and we saw even at the National Assembly, they went unrehearsed as well. Even the bunny uncles didn't read the script. And so in that situation, she's like, oh, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand what you're saying, because it was in Korean. And then Minji seemed to like, she was really digging, like, okay, was this the phrase that they used? And she's like, oh, well, I don't know. I don't really think so. But, oh, well, like, I don't know. It's fine. And so she didn't make a big deal out of it. And then apparently even later, she's just saying like, oh, well, I don't really know exactly what went on, but like, it was just funny. But no, Minji decided to pick this up and throw it into her cauldron, and then Hanni had to go serve it at the National Assembly and literally lie and commit perjury, because we saw from the CCTV footage that nothing like that happened. And even if that manager did say something like that, which, what about, they're free to say anything. They're not even part of your same company. I would like to see people at Hybe experiment with this and see how far they can go and have labor laws enacted if somebody just said mushihe, like everybody go around saying mushihe, and see if the National Assembly will invite you for a hearing about bullying just because of the word mushihe, which basically means like disregard her, ignore her. everybody's saying that like all the time anyway, whether it's under their breath or not, okay? People at work, when they're saying like, oh, Hybe does not like us, newsflash, most people at work don't like each other. It's just what happens when you get random people that you do not choose to be with all day. There are going to be people you like, and there are going to be people you don't like. There are going to be times when you get along, and there's going to be times where you fight, and then because of any kind of like conflict, you may not like a person. You get to see a little bit more of their true colors, and then you could be like, well, I don't really like that person. But you still have to work together. So not liking somebody or not being liked by another person is no grounds for saying that you can cancel your exclusive contract, especially in their privileged position. They are not an employee that has to clock in the same way that regular employees do and are stuck around people. They have a little bit more autonomy and choice to choose who they're around. Now let's move on to the glorious moment of shade thrown by Hybe. How do you say, let's not get it twisted in courtroomese? This is how Hybe did it. So essentially, Hybe was responding to Eugene's claim that Hybe, the parent company of ADOR, had feelings of inferiority or jealousy regarding the success of Eugene's, which Minji had planned and produced, and that Hybe deliberately discriminated, excluded, and attacked them. The most ridiculous. Okay, so, emotionally, we think that that is the most ridiculous thing to say, but let's go through the receipts that the court would understand and in language that would satisfy them. And so, first of all, Hybe was essentially saying, who's doing the heavy lifting while you're not lifting a finger? All your fingers do is just point at other people and play the victim. So who's really doing the work? So ADOR side said, the success of Eugene's cannot be explained solely by the talents and efforts of the group's members. That sentence is so shady. I love it. Behind their success is the effort of approximately 50 employees at ADOR. Like, girl, it's taken more than Spanx, okay? It's 50 employees, including stylists, music and video producers, choreographers, managers, etc., who devoted themselves to nurturing these artists since they were trainees. Okay, so it was a whole village that propped you up and made you look good. It wasn't just y'all and Eugene's mama. If it was just y'all and Eugene's mama, we would be seeing a much more voluminous and exciting work product out of you guys ever since you ran away. But all we're seeing is like gifts of cookies that you probably made on ChatGPT. Number 2, let's look at the money, honey. ADOR said, Hybe acquired 100% equity of ADOR from Source Music for 5 billion won, so like $4 million, $5 million, covering Eugene's training and education expenses, and invested a total of 21 billion won, so $20 million or 15 million, depending on the exchange rate, including 16 billion won from 2 rounds of paid-in capital increase. So basically that means that their initial investment was smaller, and then somehow they got, the Hybe was convinced, probably by Minji, saying like, give us more money, give us more money, and then they gave her 2 rounds of paid-in capital increase. And so they were saying like, this is unprecedented. We do not spend this type of money on anybody. They had the most amount of money invested into them for their K-pop debut and group, and it was significantly overshadowed when you look at the figures and investment numbers for LE SSERAFIM and Islet. 10 billion won, so $8 to $10 million, ADOR is saying, alone was for the group's debut, promotions, and marketing, which included the development and launch of a fan platform exclusively for Eugene's and their fans. So remember, everybody's on Weverse, but then the bunnies needed to have their own app, and everyone was like, okay, they capitulated to that. But now it becomes extremely clear. It makes it so much easier if you're going to run off with ADOR, the company, and if ADOR has created its own platform outside of Weverse that essentially does the same thing as Weverse, they can migrate all of their fans, all of the brand contracts, all of the copyright, everything, just steal it out of the Hybe umbrella. It becomes so much clearer. So there is absolutely no excuse or validity to the claim that they were discriminated against when you look at this money. Number 3, nobody drank from BTS cup like y'all did, okay? So thirsty, as if every single day was Thursday. No other group had this much tie-in and used BTS's name to build up their initial fame and fandom. NewJeans took advantage of various intangible assets available to them through their association with Hybe labels. Prior to their debut, NewJeans appeared in BTS's music video, which then NewJeans, like brats, complained about, like, oh, well, we shouldn't have been in that music video. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That was probably, honey, that was probably a big body lobby and not just as a hobby. And their songs received continued promotions through challenges filmed with Hybe label artists. Since their debut, NewJeans was frequently referred to as the younger sibling group of BTS per Minijin's request. So this was Minijin pushing and campaigning and saying, like, let's call them BTS, BTS's younger sister group, BTS's younger sister group. Whereas there are many other girl groups that would also qualify as BTS's younger sister group. How come only NewJeans got that? That seems like preferential treatment, not discrimination. Number 4, as I alluded to before, nobody likes each other at work, honey, okay? You can't cancel contracts because you don't like somebody. You may be able to cancel contracts because if you are not liked and then people take, like, a punitive weaponized actions against you, which NewJeans is trying to claim. So they're trying to go through that thought logic, but the logic ain't thoughting, honey. And so the plaintiff's side said, which is ADOR, the request forwarded by the members of NewJeans cannot justify the unilateral termination of their exclusive contracts. The defendants are merely arguing Hybe doesn't like us, citing this as a valid reason for the termination of their contracts. They have not mentioned, which essentially they're not given the proof. Where is the evidence? They have not mentioned any of the common issues typically considered valid reasons for contractual terminations, such as unfair treatment, unfulfilled payments, or restrictions on promotions. And so they're trying to grasp at straws, NewJeans, by trying to find something that fits into that category, even if it means manipulating the truth and lying on the national stage. Because imagine if this were reversed. If ADOR wanted to end their exclusive contract because they didn't like NewJeans, and let's say the NewJeans, really wanted to stay in the company, they would definitely have grounds of saying, like, you can't just terminate the contract because you don't like us or like me anymore or something like that. Like, we're working together, whether you like it or not. This is a contract. We're gonna produce stuff, and whether we work on our personal relationship, we're working on it or not. But the main thing has to be work, not like whether, I don't know if they like me. They literally need to go back to school. Now, the CEO of ADOR, Kim Ji-young, was classy and demure and said, we're just doing this because we want to be with the NewJeans members. Do I believe she wants to be anywhere near the NewJeans members, even if they were all the way in the basement? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. But that is the smart thing to do and the only thing to do. And actually, when you guys think about it, it requires a lot more patience. It requires a lot more being the bigger person to not lash out after being so wronged like this. And we can't forget about Hyuk, who's been suffering the slings and arrows and just having to stay quiet about it, stiff upper lip. Well, there was a little bit of clap back for him too. He didn't directly clap back, but it was a situation where an email just backfired on New Jean's mama. So remember back in the fall, there was this big hoopla over this supposed leaked report by an anonymous whistleblower, who they're actually thinking is actually Minnie Jin, who just leaked it herself and then called it a whistleblower, of an internal report that showed Hybe being so awful against their own artists by saying bad things about, like, you know, criticizing their own artists, where essentially it was just a monitoring report about what is going on online regarding their artists. These are some of the bad comments that people are saying about our artists, and then also doing a competitive report about what are people saying about our competitors. So that is just standard. But apparently, they got the receipts that it was so... First of all, Minnie Jin was the last one that had like her like metadata timestamp on this right before it went to the press. And so it looked like it was, people were saying like this report was manipulated. And so who changed who moved around some columns and, you know, deleted stuff and like, you know, made it look like again, like turning around the truth and then making it look the opposite of what it was. Well, then metadata says like, it, you know, Minnie Jin's fingerprints were all over it. But throughout this process, they also, you know, with this submission of like, you know, how this report came about, they're saying this report came out way earlier in like 2023. So it also had things about like, let's abandon, like, so the wording was like, let's abandon new R and start a new version. And Minnie Jin had said to the press like, oh, they're saying like they're gonna abandon New Jeans and then start something new. It makes no sense because 2023 was when the report was actually made. So if she should have said something back then, and because new R what didn't mean New Jeans, it meant new artists, including New Jeans, Islet, Le Seraphim. So it was an internal marketing decision about like, okay, we have to delineate, you know, we have to like create names. And apparently that sentence had nothing to do with abandoning New Jeans. It was just more of like, okay, let's just get rid of this moniker that doesn't fit our groups. So, and then let's move forward. And this was 2023. So obviously they didn't abandon New Jeans because they were having more and more and more work and investment and support. And then the smoking gun kicker, the clapback for Chairman Bang Si-hyuk, was that throughout these emails, Bang Si-hyuk had sent Minnie Jin's VP at the time an email saying that I've been staying in the US for a long time, so I've had the opportunity to interact with many excellent top tier producers. Some of them want to work with New Jeans. How should I best connect them? So he had been and this was January of 2024, okay, last year, right before the audit. So right, you know, audit, we had like the vapors of the plot and the cauldron of Minnie Jin's plot like February and March, and then the official audit was like March, April. And so up until January 2024, it seemed like, you know, Bang Si-hyuk had no idea and was still just like, hey, yeah, we're on board with New Jeans. Like, you know, let's get them the support. And it proves that Bang Si-hyuk was really trying to connect New Jeans to the best producers in the world. Okay, New Jeans side, what did they say in court? Well, they started with a word salad appetizer. The lawyers for New Jeans said from 2023 to 2024, the defendants were involved in a number of controversial issues caused by Hybe labels, including biased media play, laying out a game board for discarding New Jeans, Islet's plagiarism controversy, conflict with the video production team Dolphiners Films, and more. No other artists under Hybe labels experienced any kind of treatment resembling the above. No other artists under the Hybe labels run all this kind of complex con like y'all did above. That's the truth. New Jeans lawyers also argued ADOR has admitted that it has neither the will nor the ability to protect and nurture the members, and has instead destroyed the foundations and achievements of their entertainment activities. Without any reflection, it intends to bind them like slaves and drive them to extinction. The members' termination notices are legitimate, legal, and effectively immediately upon notification. Since the exclusive contract has been terminated, this provisional disposition should be dismissed. Then they went on to discrimination, which they probably can't even spell. They said that the defendants experienced discrimination even before their debut. Producer Minji was brought on after being promised New Jeans would debut bearing the title of Hybe's first girl group. However, the group's debut was then pushed back and Le Sserafim debuted first. First of all, how does that even classify as discrimination? They offered that to you first. And from all of the evidence, it was because New Jeans' mama was the one that didn't have her work together and delayed your debut. Everybody was like, okay, you guys are going first. The deadline's coming. Where is the project proposal? Where is the branding? Y'all didn't even have like your name or look or concept. And, she was too busy plotting, scheming, and how to steal. And then she, found an old piñata and then busted that open and saw like, oh, there's Mexican jeans. Let's just call you New Jeans. And it was because of her procrastination that led to your delay. Otherwise, you would have been the first girl group out of Hybe. But the other artists, the other sub-labels also deserve to run independently of ADOR. They are essentially separate companies. So then if we are following your logic, your bunny logic, then New Jeans Mama would be dictating to a different CEO what they should do with their company. That's unacceptable, and you certainly wouldn't have accepted it if the roles were reversed. And talk about another paper straw folding under the soda. The girl group side stated, another example of discrimination involved member Hyein, who was selected as an ambassador for a luxury brand, essentially Louis Vuitton, shortly after debut. However, not long afterward, the brand chose to sign an ambassador contract with Le Sserafim. Upon requesting a clarification, the brand apologized, explaining Hybe had contacted the brand first. Look, again, false. Sakura from Le Sserafim had a brand partnership with Louis Vuitton even before New Jeans had debuted. 2022, 2023, she is already, doing her Louis Vuitton realness, okay? And they are twisting this again and again. And it's the brand's prerogative. If the brand don't want you first, that's the brand, okay? Now you're going to be dictating to the brand what they should do? This is just makes them look worse, and they've been getting away with it. So I think for the New Jeans and New Jeans Mama, they don't know exactly when they've crossed into the territory when they look ridiculous, because the first time, first shot it's out of the gate, they're able to manipulate, but then and they're using the same bullets, and then people are just like, sorry. That looks so like a Nerf gun. The New Jeans side said, the essence of this case is that Hybe and ADOR attempted to discriminate against, reject, and replace New Jeans with another group for disposal. So if this were the case, where is this other group in ADOR? ADOR only has New Jeans. Yes, they sent out some audition announcements, but they only have New Jeans. So where is this group that they're going to replace you with? It makes absolutely no legal sense. And again, they're starting to mix Hybe and ADOR. So they mix Hybe and ADOR, say that they're the same entity when it's to their advantage. And then when it's to their advantage that they're separated, they'll also do that. So to a judge, that doesn't sound like you can really trust their logic and what they are saying. New Jeans claims that they're frustrated by the attitude of Hybe because they need to get their permission to do things. Well, if you think that the contract has been, terminated, you don't need anybody's permission. And then they say like, oh, they're still harassing us from behind the scenes. Where is this evidence for this harassment? In what form? And let's say it is true. Are you going to complain, like, let's say you left a job and then you're saying like, oh, they're still harassing me over in the office. They're still talking about me. What are you talking about? Then they kept beating the continuous dead horse about the plagiarism. Nugent's lawyers said that Hybe attempted to replace the defendants with Islet. That doesn't make sense because Islet is not part of ADOR. It's a separate legal entity. But they say during this process, Hybe copied Nugent's debut plan proposal. Obviously, that has been debunked. An employee of Hybe even admitted to this. Every aspect of Islet's creative branding, from the team structure to their styling and even their choreography, resembles Nugent's. You know, Mexico would like a word. The UK would like a word. Every older millennial's closet would like a word. Then, when Minji requested an explanation, she was instead hit with a high-degree audit and a lawsuit. Again, they are trying to blame the audit again on this false plagiarism claim. Audit was started because Minji tried to steal ADOR out of Hybe. Minji says the audit was started because I just said that Islet looks like Nugent's and they got mad at me and they don't like me, and then now that they're auditing. But what did they find? The audit, if it were an audit about the whole plagiarism thing, wouldn't it be about the plagiarism? But no, they went straight to like, oh, Jesus, we're hatching a plot to seek outside investors, planning this elaborate scheme to use the stock options against us, and run off with a bag that we gave her, artists we gave her, company we gave her, reputation, brand value that we gave her, technology infrastructure we gave her. That's why there was an audit. And this was probably one of the worst mistakes they made in court. Nugent said that Hybe obstructed them from wearing mourning ribbons after the Jeju Air disaster, you know, the big airplane crash in Korea that killed many people. And that was on December 29th, 2024. It's already been a month after you said you've terminated your contract. So why are you saying that Hybe is restricting you? If you want to do whatever you want, you can do whatever you want. Now, Hybe rebutted against this, you know, after this claim was made in social media. So we're lucky now we get we don't have to wait all the way to the night before to the next hearing to see some of the rebuttals. They're coming out on social media right away. And so ADOR said that, no, this is because we were following the sensitivities of the guidelines of the broadcasters, and wearing them was basically like, you know, when they go onto like a music performance, you know, variety show, every broadcaster, every country, because this was Korea and Japan, will have some, you know, different rules and regulations. And so they were saying that, okay, all Hybe artists were going to have to create a policy. And so the policy hadn't been set yet. And then they said, okay, yes, we're going to wear these ribbons. And then apparently Hanni made her own. So she's doing it anyway. But trying to use the disaster of all those people who died for the benefit of a talking point in your hearing for this injunction is just really inexcusable. Now, we saw the girls prepare earnestly at the last minute, try to cram in their lines at the last minute before walking into court. So let's go over what they said. Each girl was able to talk for 3 to 5 minutes each. So somebody had an extra cookie though. We'll get into that. So Haerin said, I felt so helpless seeing ADOR not taking any action against Hybe and other labels who are forced to tarnish our image and bring down our performance. Former CEO Minji did her best to protect us, but Hybe instead took issue with her actions, attacked her, and even went so far as to fire her. The court's going to look at that as naive. Danielle said in a trembling voice, there are 5 of us on stage, but we are a team of 6, including President Minji. And I want to continue working with Minji, not ADOR, in the future. Hyein said, as an idol and as a human being, my future in ADOR feels so bleak and dark. I think that I cannot approach the public with false and insincere work rather than the genuine works that would be pleasant to hear no matter who saw them because they contained everyone's sincerity. Now, this kind of stuff doesn't work in court. It's the wrong heartstrings. It's not like heartstrings don't work, but it has nothing that gives a judge certainty in their decision that they're not going to get any blowback for their legal decision. Hanni said, when I see Hybe's action to stop us, I think they're actually afraid of us. Hybe is afraid of our success and our future. It is difficult to work with a company that does not respect us and does not trust us. Again, the court's gonna be like, look, I don't respect and trust anybody sitting around me, okay? But we still work together. Minji said, I have been hurt by discrimination for a long time, and the company's explanation that the unfairness and discrimination I felt were all misunderstandings is painful to our wounds. Now, what kind, like, again, I don't even think they know what it means, discrimination means. They don't even know how to spell it. And girl, you're Korean. Out of all the girls, she has the most quintessentially, and I will say very pretty Korean look in a company with a female CEO twice. What sort of discrimination is she talking about? However, we had a bonus. Before the trial ended, Danielle raised her hand and asked for another chance to speak, and the judge said yes. And this is when she probably felt like, okay, I practiced the tears, but it didn't come out in the first time. And girl, you know, I've been trying to get the tear ducts to turn on. So then she said, the manager, the representative, and the stylist I trusted and believed in are no longer at ADOR. I don't know who can protect us if we go back there. I'm 21 years old and don't want to experience that again over the next 5 years. So no matter how the outcome turns out, I want to emphasize that I absolutely do not want to be with ADOR. Girl, that is not going to impress the judge because, first of all, under your contract as an artist, you are more in the driver's seat of hiring these people around you, stylists, managers, representatives, unless they're being subsidized by Hybe and Hybe is footing the bill for them, so you should be thankful for. And then you have to learn that if you take somebody else's money like that, you got to take some of their own preferences. But if you fork out the money, you know, as part of your deal and your profit sharing in ADOR and then renegotiate that way and be like, I'm going to bring in my people, then you have nothing to worry about. And in the real world, you know, the judge is going to be like, yeah, that's just realistic. Stop crying. And your drama classes at the JIT, you probably didn't pass. Go back again. Well, these girls acted like a fool right outside of court as well. They're just like skipping and laughing and smiling on their way out of court after also, you know, other parts of the trial really tearing down Le Seraphim and Eyelet. You know, just like how Minnie Jin skipped and pranced out of the police station after she was being interrogated, and like Hanni and Minji gloating over the National Assembly appearance by Hanni. And so the reporters asked, why'd you come? What'd you say to the court? What do you want to say to your fans? And the New Jeans members kept it brief. They said, well, we thought it would be better to appear in person since it directly relates to us. We have no regrets because we were able to properly explain the burden we went through. The burden that they went through, not the burden that they've put on everybody around the world now. I think I got their new name, guys. It's New Burden. New Burden. Or in Korean, New Budam. Maybe Shin Budam, New Budam. Every time you look around, they're giving everybody a new burden. Okay, so let's go over the fallout on social media because we are lucky that the responses are coming in fast. We don't have to wait until the last day before the next hearing to hear about the rebuttals. So let's go over Hanni's first, the audacity of this girl. She said, how can you take only one part of a conversation and shift the meaning to benefit your point of view when I was the one who wrote it, whilst you present yourself as a company that wants the best for us? I don't know who them three crows are on that wire, but okay, anyway, it's giving witch vibes. Then in another post, she said, I have a lot to say, but I've been holding back simply because I do not feel the need to escalate the situation any bigger than it already is. But if you think you have the audacity to make even more false assumptions about us than you already have, then I won't stay silent. Girl, you really do need to go back to school. You just literally proved right here that you don't know the difference between than and then. You mixed it up. But the more serious clapback on social media was from Source Music, and Source Music is essentially the real silent victim here that has been not given, I think, their proper platform. And then when they tried to go out and present their side on YouTube, they were immediately flooded with hate from paid bots, but they believed it was real at the time. And so they really wanted to clarify the untrue parts of the content raised regarding their company and their artists in this court session. Essentially, the lies that NewJeans was spinning. They said, Le Sserafim has never received any special treatment or unfair profits in the process of being selected as an ambassador for a specific brand, said Louis Vuitton. Our relationship with the brand began in April 2022 when Sakura signed a contract with the brand. At the time, we discussed the possibility of expanding to a team-based ambassadorship through the brand's Japanese office after mutually satisfying collaboration results, and this was carried out completely unrelated to other artists. Mind you, Source Music is a completely different company than ADOR. They already had one member of their group be the brand ambassador for Louis Vuitton. Then they said, hey, how about the entire group? Which would make sense. Then the negotiations are going on. Then it looked like they got the group brand deal, and that is that's how you JIT it, because of course the group brand deal happened afterwards, but they already had established relationship with Louis Vuitton Japan. And then when later on the group got the Louis Vuitton deal, then Minji is using that as like accusing them of like, how can they get the brand deal after NewJeans had gotten a brand deal? Look, Louis Vuitton can go and ambassador whoever they want. Why is BTS not complaining that Hanni showed up at Gucci? She didn't show up at the last one, so I don't know where her brand ambassadorship is, but they didn't have a problem because under Hybe's logic, it's more of like the more the merrier. Yeah, we want all of our artists to have as many brands, as is good for brand value and brand equity in the artist, overall. But the more the merrier. You're not going to be like, well, you can't do it because we got it. But you're in a different company. So imagine if all of the tables were turned and the shoe was on the other foot. If anybody else complained about NewJeans getting brand ambassadorships because of ridiculous reasons like, oh, well, we already had it first, Minji would be the first person to tell all these people to take a hike. And yes, and now she's hiking up Jezebel Mountain. So Source Music does have an ongoing lawsuit, and we didn't really hear about the results of her case because she also had a hearing, which I don't think she attended. If she had attended, we probably would have seen the pictures of that. And so that was probably more of a quiet one. And Source Music seems to be a little bit more, like quiet, like focus on the work and just be drama free. And they have their ongoing lawsuit, and they clarified this in the same Instagram message, saying that Minji had lobbed all of these false allegations, and that's why they are doing this lawsuit. They have the evidence that has already been made clear that the claims regarding the timing and process of NewJeans' debut, because again, it's because NewJeans' mama is saying like, well, why did Le Sserafim debut first when we were supposed to debut first? They have all of the evidence that shows that they did everything right. NewJeans' mama was the one who delayed everything. The plan was to have NewJeans go first. Everybody gave her that. But she's the one, NewJeans' mama was the one that messed it up, okay? But yet she spread all the false claims at her April press conference, and that's what they're really riled about. And again, guys, if there's so many parts to this story, if you don't remember, the reason why it's so sad for Source Music is that essentially New Jeans should have been theirs to begin with. New Jeans was being developed at Source. So there really should never have been an ADOR. There really should never have been a New Jeans under Minji. Remember, the original job that Minji had at Hybe was to be the overall creative brand officer for all of the Hybe sub-labels, so that she would, go in and then consult on more of a branding perspective. And Source Music had already recruited most of the New Jeans members and were developing them and trying to see, which group they're going to be debuting in. And then Minji came in to assist with the branding. Suddenly, she wanted her own girl group. Suddenly, she wanted to have her own label and take this girl group from Source Music. So if you really see like how unfairly the balance of this story has been so weighed out, like not weighed enough of the Source Music team's position, that's essentially it. At the core of this, how this, what all of this drama has really hidden was, would you guys accept it if like somebody like who's the CBO, Chief Branding Officer of your company, comes in and steals your project and then makes their own division with like what you created, and then you have to support them all the way out of being a good team player, and then be blamed for the mistakes that this person, who obviously doesn't know what she's doing, is making? That's the really sad part. All right, guys, so what do you think? Did you take a look at the CCTV video, the Kakao Talk messages, all of the pieces unraveling now and making it really look and exposing to more and more people who are on the fence about the validity of the claims by New Jeans and New Jeans Mama, whether they were lying or not? It's literally like, all them pants are on fire, okay? Them new fire jeans. All right, guys, put your comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.